Most people think breakfast is the healthiest meal of the day. It feels safe, it feels right. A quick bowl of cereal, a slice of toast, a cup of tea, it all seems like the perfect way to start the morning. But here's the truth that many families never realize. The very meal you trust every day could be draining your energy, slowing your metabolism, and quietly affecting your children's focus, mood, and long term health. And for parents, this matters more than anything else because the habits built in the morning often shape the entire day ahead. There is a hidden pattern that repeats in millions of homes every single day. You wake up, you choose something fast and easy, and within a few hours, the energy crashes. Hunger returns, irritation builds, kids struggle to concentrate in school, and adults feel tired before the day has even properly begun. It feels normal, but it is far from harmless. There are simple mistakes in breakfast choices that almost everyone makes without even realizing it, and these mistakes can quietly impact weight, focus, and overall health over time. In this video, you are going to learn the real truth behind common breakfast foods that are often seen as healthy but can actually work against your body. You will discover how small changes can give you stable energy, better focus, and fewer cravings throughout the day. You will also learn why children are more affected by poor breakfast choices than adults, and how fixing this one meal can improve their performance, mood, and growth in ways most people overlook. These are simple, practical tips that you can apply immediately without complicated diets or expensive ingredients. Stay with this video until the end because one of the most important mistakes is something even health conscious people continue to do every morning. Fixing that one habit can completely change how your body feels throughout the day. Missing it means you might continue the same cycle without ever understanding why your energy keeps dropping. This is more than just about food. This is about how you feel, how you think, and how your family grows every single day. Small changes in the morning can create powerful results over time, and once you understand these simple truths, you will never look at breakfast the same way again. Welcome to our channel, where we share simple health tips that actually work. Make sure to subscribe and stay with us for more videos that help you take control of your health in the easiest way possible. There are a few simple breakfast mistakes that quietly slip into daily routines without any attention. They look harmless, almost normal, because everyone around is doing the same thing. A quick sugary start, skipping protein, rushing through the meal, or even choosing foods that seem healthy on the surface but behave very differently inside the body. These habits repeat every morning in homes, in schools, in busy kitchens where time feels limited and convenience feels necessary. Over time, these small choices begin to shape how the body responds throughout the day. Almost every family falls into this pattern without realizing it. Parents try to give their children something quick before school, thinking it is enough. Adults grab whatever is easy before heading to work, believing it will keep them going. Yet within a few hours, energy drops, hunger returns, and focus begins to fade. It becomes a cycle that feels normal, even though it is slowly affecting productivity, mood, and overall well being. The surprising part is how common these mistakes are, even among people who believe they are making healthy choices. The body responds to the first meal in a very powerful way. It sets the tone for energy levels, cravings, and even mental clarity for the rest of the day. When that start is unbalanced, everything that follows begins to shift in the wrong direction. Small imbalances grow into noticeable problems, and those problems repeat day after day. Fixing these mistakes does not require extreme changes or complicated plans. Simple adjustments can begin to change how the body feels within hours. Energy becomes more stable, hunger becomes easier to manage, and the day starts to feel more controlled instead of reactive. The difference can be felt sooner than most people expect, which makes these small changes more powerful than they seem at first glance. You wake up already feeling a little tired, even after a full night of sleep. The morning feels rushed, so you reach for something quick and easy, something that feels enough to get you going. It might be a slice of toast, a cup of tea with sugar, or a ready made cereal that promises energy. For a short moment, it feels like it works. You start your day, move into your routine, and everything seems fine. But that feeling does not last very long. By mid morning, the hunger starts to come back. It is not a gentle reminder, it feels sudden and distracting. Your energy begins to drop, your focus becomes weaker, and small tasks start to feel harder than they should. You may notice a shift in your mood as well. Irritation builds, patience becomes shorter, and cravings begin to appear, usually for something sweet or heavy. It becomes harder to stay consistent, and the day starts to feel like a constant battle between energy and fatigue. For children, the impact shows up in a different way, but feels just as real. They sit in class, but their attention drifts. Simple lessons become harder to follow. Teachers may notice a lack of focus, and children themselves may feel restless or tired without understanding why. What looked like a normal breakfast in the morning quietly turns into a struggle a few hours later. This pattern repeats so often that it starts to feel normal. The cycle of quick meals, short bursts of energy, and sudden crashes becomes part of everyday life, even though it keeps holding back how the body and mind are supposed to perform. The problem is not breakfast itself. Even though many people start to blame the meal when they feel tired or hungry too soon, breakfast has always been seen as a strong start to the day, and in many ways, that idea still holds true. The real issue lies deeper in the type of food that fills the plate. It is easy to assume that anything eaten in the morning will provide energy, but the body responds very differently depending on what that food contains. It comes down to what you eat for breakfast. Some foods release energy slowly and keep the body stable, while others create a quick rise that fades just as fast. That difference is where most people begin to lose control of their energy without realizing it. A meal that looks light and convenient can lead to sudden drops in focus and strength later in the morning. On the other hand, a more balanced choice can quietly support the body for hours without drawing attention to itself. Many common breakfast options carry a healthy image that feels reassuring. Bright packaging, simple ingredients, and familiar routines all create a sense of trust. Yet some of these foods behave in a way that pushes the body into a cycle of spikes and crashes. They may taste good and feel satisfying in the moment, but the effect they leave behind tells a different story. This is where the confusion begins, because what appears healthy on the outside does not always match how it works inside the body. One of the most common habits in the morning starts with foods that are high in sugar. Sugary cereals, soft white bread, sweet tea, and similar choices feel light and convenient, which makes them easy to rely on every day. They taste good, they are quick to prepare, and they seem to provide an instant boost of energy. For a short time, that boost feels real. The body responds quickly, and there is a sense of alertness that makes it seem like the right choice was made. That quick rise in energy, however, does not stay for long. The body processes these foods rapidly, which leads to a sudden drop not long after. As the energy falls, the feeling of tiredness begins to return, often stronger than before. Hunger follows closely behind, even though it has only been a few hours since the last meal. This pattern creates a cycle where the body keeps asking for more food, especially foods that can bring that same quick boost again. This is where many people begin to feel stuck. The more this cycle repeats, the harder it becomes to maintain steady energy throughout the day. Focus begins to slip, small tasks feel heavier, and cravings start to take control. It becomes less about real hunger and more about trying to recover from that sudden drop in energy. These foods may look simple and harmless, but their effect builds quietly over time. The body starts to depend on quick rises and sudden falls, which makes balance harder to maintain. And the next mistake makes this even worse, adding another layer to a pattern that is already difficult to break once it becomes part of the daily routine. Adding protein to the first meal of the day begins to shift how the body responds in a steady and noticeable way. Protein moves through the system more slowly, which allows energy to be released at a more balanced pace instead of rising and falling quickly. This creates a sense of stability that lasts longer into the morning. The feeling of fullness stays with you, and the urge to reach for extra snacks begins to fade without effort. It does not require a large portion to make a difference. Even a small amount can start to change how the body reacts after eating. Simple options like eggs, yogurt, or a handful of nuts can fit easily into a morning routine without adding complexity. These foods work quietly in the background, supporting the body without creating sudden spikes. They help maintain a more even level of energy, which makes it easier to stay focused on tasks without constant interruptions from hunger. Over time, this small shift becomes more noticeable, especially during the hours when energy usually drops. As the body adjusts, the need for quick sugar based foods begins to decrease, cravings become less intense, and the mind feels clearer during work or school hours. Children also benefit from this kind of balance as it supports better attention and a calmer mood throughout the day. The difference may seem subtle at first, but it builds gradually, creating a more stable rhythm that replaces the usual cycle of highs and lows that many people experience after a typical breakfast. Skipping breakfast can feel like a small and harmless choice, especially on busy mornings when time feels limited and routines feel rushed. It may seem easier to move forward without eating, with the idea that food can come later in the day. For adults, this might pass without immediate concern, but for children, the impact begins much earlier and reaches deeper than it appears on the surface. Their bodies and minds are still growing, and the first meal of the day plays a quiet but important role in supporting that process. Children rely on steady energy to stay engaged, to understand what they are being taught, and to respond calmly in different situations. Without that early fuel, their energy can drop quickly, even if they do not express it clearly. In a classroom, this may look like a lack of attention, difficulty in remembering simple instructions, or a shift in mood that seems unusual. Small signs begin to appear, and over time, they can affect how a child experiences learning and interaction throughout the day. Parents often try their best to manage mornings, balancing multiple responsibilities at once. In that process, breakfast can sometimes lose priority without anyone intending it to happen. Yet the effect continues to build quietly, shaping how a child feels, thinks, and reacts in those early hours. A simple meal, even in a small portion, can provide the support their body needs to stay steady and responsive. This connection between food and daily behavior is easy to overlook, especially when everything feels routine. The absence of breakfast may not seem serious at first, but its influence begins to show in ways that can easily be mistaken for something else, making it harder to recognize what is really happening underneath. Healthy breakfast does not need to feel complicated or time consuming. Many people assume that eating better in the morning requires detailed planning, special ingredients, or long preparation, which makes it harder to stay consistent. This belief often leads to giving up before even starting, especially on busy days when there is little time to think about food. In reality, the most effective choices are often the simplest ones, built around a few basic ingredients that support the body in a steady way. Simple meals tend to work better because they are easier to repeat every day. A consistent routine creates a sense of ease where there is no need to make new decisions each morning. This reduces stress and helps maintain a pattern that the body can rely on. Foods that are easy to prepare and easy to combine often provide the kind of balance that keeps energy stable without adding pressure to the routine. The focus shifts away from complexity and moves toward consistency, which plays a much bigger role in long term habits. There is also a common idea that every meal has to be perfect to be effective, which can create unnecessary pressure. Trying to meet that standard can make simple choices feel inadequate, even when they are already enough to support the body. Balance becomes more important than perfection, allowing flexibility without losing direction. A meal does not need to include everything at once, it only needs to provide enough support to start the day in a steady way. Over time, this approach makes it easier to stay on track without feeling overwhelmed. It becomes part of a natural routine where small, manageable choices continue to build into something that feels sustainable and steady without requiring constant effort or attention. Even when the effort is there and the choices seem healthy, there can still be something missing that quietly changes the outcome. The meal may include better ingredients, less sugar, and more balance, yet the results may still feel inconsistent. Energy may rise at first, but then fade sooner than expected. Focus may hold for a while, then begin to slip without a clear reason. This creates confusion, especially when it feels like the right steps are already being followed. There is a hidden mistake that often goes unnoticed because it does not stand out as clearly as food choices. It sits in the background of the routine, blending into daily habits that feel normal and familiar. Many people continue this pattern without questioning it, believing that the improvement in food quality is enough on its own. The body, however, responds to more than just ingredients, and small details in the routine can influence how those ingredients are used. This is where things begin to feel unpredictable. Some mornings feel better than others, even when the same foods are used. The difference may seem random, but it is often linked to a factor that is easy to overlook. It does not require a major change, yet it can affect how steady the energy remains and how long that stability lasts. As this pattern repeats, it becomes harder to understand why progress feels limited. The effort is there, the intention is clear, yet something continues to hold the results back. This hidden piece quietly shapes the outcome, making it seem like more needs to be done, even though the answer is already part of the existing routine. Timing plays a quiet but powerful role in how the body responds to breakfast. It is not only about what is on the plate, but also about when that meal is eaten. Eating too early, before the body feels ready, can make the meal feel forced, and the energy it provides may not last as expected. On the other hand, waiting too long can lead to a sudden drop in energy, making it harder to focus and easier to overeat later. This balance often goes unnoticed, yet it influences how steady the body feels throughout the morning. The body has its own rhythm, and it sends signals that are easy to ignore during a busy routine. Hunger is one of those signals, but it does not always appear in a strong or obvious way. Sometimes it starts as a light feeling, a small shift in energy, or a gentle reminder that the body is ready for fuel. When this signal is missed or delayed, the body begins to react differently, often leading to uneven energy levels and a stronger sense of hunger later on. Listening to these signals creates a different kind of awareness. It allows the meal to match the body's needs instead of following a fixed routine that may not fit every day. This does not require strict timing or exact schedules, but rather a simple attention to how the body feels in the moment. Over time, this awareness becomes more natural, making it easier to find a rhythm that supports steady energy and focus. Small adjustments in timing can begin to change how the morning feels. The same foods may produce different results depending on when they are eaten, showing how closely timing is connected to the body's overall response. The pattern begins to become clearer when these small shifts are placed side by side. Avoiding sugar spikes changes how energy rises and falls during the morning, helping the body stay more stable instead of moving through sudden highs and lows. Adding protein brings a sense of balance that lasts longer, supporting focus and reducing the constant pull towards snacks. These two changes alone start to reshape the early part of the day in a noticeable way. Keeping breakfast consistent also means making sure it is not skipped, especially for children who rely on steady fuel to stay engaged and responsive. That early support helps maintain attention and keeps mood from shifting too quickly. At the same time, keeping things simple removes the pressure of trying to do everything perfectly. Simple meals make it easier to repeat healthy habits without feeling overwhelmed, allowing the routine to stay steady over time. Timing then connects all of these choices together. Eating at a moment when the body feels ready allows the meal to work more effectively, helping nutrients support the body in a smoother way. When timing is off, even good choices can feel less effective, which shows how these small details work together rather than on their own. As these elements come into place, the morning starts to feel more balanced, energy becomes more predictable, focus feels easier to maintain, and the need for constant adjustments begins to fade. Each part plays a role, and together they shape how the body moves through the day without drawing too much attention to any single change. So the reason you feel tired after breakfast is not because breakfast is bad, it is because of what you are eating and how your body is responding to it. The small choices made in the morning quietly shape everything that follows, from your energy levels to your focus and even your mood. When those choices are unbalanced, the body struggles to keep up, leading to the same cycle of hunger, cravings, and low energy that keeps repeating day after day. Once you begin to notice these patterns, the picture becomes much clearer. It is not about doing more or trying harder. It is about making smarter decisions with what is already part of your routine. A simple shift in what goes on your plate can begin to change how your entire day feels without adding pressure or complexity. The difference builds over time, turning small improvements into something that feels steady and natural. For parents, this change becomes even more meaningful. The way a child starts their day can influence how they learn, how they behave, and how they feel in ways that are easy to overlook. A better breakfast creates a stronger foundation, helping both adults and children move through the day with more balance and control. Fix this, and your mornings will begin to feel different. Energy becomes more stable, focus becomes easier, and the need to rely on quick fixes starts to fade away. Which of these mistakes are you making right now? Comment below and share your thoughts. Like this video and subscribe to our channel for simple health tips that actually work.